So good evening and welcome to the Terre Haute Chamber of Commerce's Vigo County School Corporation Candidate Forum. I'm very happy to have all of you here this evening. My name is Kristen Craig and I serve as Executive Director of the Terre Haute Chamber of Commerce. I know you've participated in quite a few forums lately, but we do sincerely appreciate your willingness to squeeze in at least one more before Election Day, but it sounds like maybe you've got even a couple more to squeeze in. Tonight's forum is being presented by the Chamber's Advocacy Committee. We will be recording and posting this on the Chamber's social media accounts tomorrow for public viewing. So you can view it there, or I'd also be happy to send you the email link as well. On behalf of our two advocacy co-chairs, I don't think either of which are going to be able to join us this evening. That's Sarah Smith from Sycamore Engineering and John Collette from Garmon Construction. Again, thank you for being here. I also want to just thank all of you before we get started for stepping up and running for public office. It's an admirable task on its own, and your willingness to step up and help the community is greatly appreciated. So thank you. So let me kind of go into the format for this evening. The goal tonight is to give each candidate the opportunity to respond to a few questions that are of particular interest to the Chamber's membership. In case you're unfamiliar with the Chamber, we're a nonprofit organization that represents the interests of the business community. Our membership ranges everywhere from solo entrepreneurs all the way to our companies or our community's largest employers in education, healthcare, and manufacturing. The questions tonight are geared towards our audience and the issues they would like to hear discussed by each of you as candidates. To ensure transparency, though, I did want to point out that one of tonight's candidates, Rick Berger, currently serves as a member of the Chamber's Board of Directors. However, he has not been involved in the planning for tonight's event. Let's see here. I hope to make it through at least 3 to 4 questions this evening, but we're going to end promptly at the 1 hour mark at 6:30. Whenever I ask a question, I'm also going to try and post it in the chat as well, so I don't have to repeat the question. There's a lot of you. It's going to take a minute to get through everything. If you have any questions, though, feel free to ask. I think how we'll stage this is just you can volunteer to answer. If you choose not to answer a question, that's perfectly fine. I will make sure to kind of call out and make sure we've got everybody gives a chance to provide an answer before we move on to the next. Any questions regarding the format? You guys are all probably pros at this by now and could point out flaws I have. All right, so let's get started with introductions. We'd like to ask everybody to introduce themselves and provide kind of a 30-second or less summary as to why you're running for school board. That will help our audience kind of get to know you as candidates. I will call on people in the list I have. It's in no particular order. So let's start with Carrie Labella. Carrie, if you don't mind.
Hello, my name is Carrie Labella, and I'm running for District 1 school board seat. I'm the mother of 4 children, and they're the main reason why I decided to run. I have a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. So I have 2 kids actively in the school system and 2 almost there. And I'm married to Jason Labella. He's a local engineer, Rose Holman alum. And I have 19 years of public service experience. And I currently work at the Vigo County Public Library as the adult services librarian.
Okay, great. Thank you. JD Skelton, let's go ahead and go to you if you don't mind.
Hi, JD Skelton. I'm running for District 2. I'm a 27-year resident of Vigo County. I've had 3 children go through the corporation, 2 currently still in, 1 being a junior and senior in the high school. Married 25 years, and currently I'm a senior account manager and regional trainer at Lundbeck Pharmaceuticals. I've been in the pharmaceutical industry close to 20 years, focused on mental health. Reason why I'm really running for the school board is change. Point blank, the word change, and to bring back that trust and transparency that I think we've lost. When you have referendums out there that go down 70 to 30, I think there's definitely some issues with the trust with the current board and with the school corporation. And I feel that I have a high amount of leadership and communication skills to bring to the table to try to help change that.
Thank you. Craig, do you mind going next?
Sure, thank you. So Craig Enyart, I'm also running for District 2 for the school board. I have 3 kids. My wife is a media center specialist. here at Sugar Creek Consolidated. Next year, I'll have one at West Vigo High School, one at West Vigo Middle School, and one at Sugar Creek Consolidated. So I have a lot of investment in this community and going from there. I'm running because one of the things is I'm finishing up my dissertation in teaching and learning with a focus on curriculum and instruction, as well as administration. I've worked on a lot of emergency response plans, school safety. I'm currently the assistant director or assistant dean of students and director of student conduct at Indiana State University. So I feel like I have a lot of educational experience working with state appropriation money, looking at school safety, but also really looking at student success and providing support for our teachers. And I'm also trained in mediation, so I feel like I have a pretty good listening ear and a way to kind of bring people together and move forward.
Thank you, Craig. How about Jim Bell?
Yeah, hello. My name is Jim Bell. I'm running for District 2. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, oh, sorry. My name is Jim Bell. I'm running for District 2 school board also. I'm a lifelong resident of Vigo County. I have 4 children that have went through the school system, one that currently is still in there as a sophomore. Work for the Harrison Township Assessor's Office. And the reason I decided to run for school board is I feel the community wants a voice and a say, and I want to be that voice for the community to bring back to the school board and be part of the solution.
Okay, thank you. Clark?
Hi, my name is Clark Cowden, and I'm running for District 4 on the school board. I graduated from Terre Haute North High School. I attended Indiana State University. I have a master's degree and a doctorate degree. I pastor 2 Methodist churches here in the county. I'm running for the school board because I believe our community is at a crossroads and we need leadership for the future. I believe the future of our community is connected to the future of our schools. And after attending most of the school board meetings the last 2 years, I've seen a definite lack of leadership from our current school board members and feel like I have over 30 years of leadership experience with nonprofits and boards and churches and community organizations. And we need people who understand how to work with all the different stakeholders in the community to bring about change and have a positive future for our community, and believe I can offer the leadership that is needed.
All right, thank you. Ken, do you mind going next?
Sure. Ken Warner, I'm running for District 4. My wife Kathy is a retired school teacher, and our 2 children went through Terre Haute North. I have a business degree from Indiana State. The reason I'm running is that I think our school corporation is facing some severe financial challenges. I don't believe we've had a lot of skill sets of analytical skills on the school board the last few years. We've made the same mistakes with buildings since roughly the late 1980s, and I didn't see a path that anyone was going to change that. So I think we need to go down a different direction.
Okay, thank you. Rick, as long as you can still hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? All right.
Yes, we can.
Rick Berger, District 5, Duke Energy Manager. I've been with the company 45 years. We have 4 children and 8 grandchildren. The strengths I feel like I bring to this position is 3 things here. I served 8 years on the Lafayette School Board with a very good, successful record there. I served 4 years on the Vigo County Council, and then also, past chairman of many leadership boards in their community, such as the Chamber, Terre Haute EDC, Work One, and Children's Museum. Thank you.
Thank you. Rosemary?
Hi, my name's Rosemary Scott. I'm the mother of 5, and I'm currently representing on the school board. I want to run again because I feel like there's a lot of work that we still need to do. Some mistakes were made. Most of them were things that I wasn't in favor of, things that I advocated against, in fact. But 4 is majority on the board. So it is encouraging to hear these other candidates talk about being a voice for the people, speaking out for the teachers and the students, because that is lacking. There is not enough collaboration, excuse me, not enough collaboration with the board. I look forward to people who really want to be boots on the ground and dig into issues. We are a policy board, but when people come to us with real problems in their everyday lives at school, we're who they have. We're the ones that they can talk to. And so much of the time, people have been ignored. I was on that side of the fence as a parent for many years. And I remember going to people on the board who told me, well, all we can do is help you with policy, nothing else. So I carry that thought with me now when people come to me, and I try as much as I can to help be an advocate, be a bridge, so that both sides are heard equally. So we listen, not just hear. Thank you.
All right, and Michael?
Sorry, I had to unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm Mike Kukowicz, and I'm running in District 5. I am a lifelong citizen of Vigo County. I'm currently retired after 43 years at Regional Hospital in various roles. Been married for 44 years. Have 3 girls, well, they're all women now, that went through the local school system. I went through the local school system. My wife went through the local school system. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's in administration. I was a regional, I was a lab supervisor, I was a cost accountant, I was a supply chain officer, and I ended up my career as an IT director. And I'm running because I've just heard so many frustrations from the community. And I mean, I've endured it myself over the past. And what I want to do is try to work with people, work with the public to ensure a good educational experience for our children, and also make sure we can hire and retain the best teachers by giving them the best benefits and pay that we can afford. I hope, hope to get elected. I do have really good learning skills after being in management for over 40 years, and problem solving skills. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Did I get everybody or did I miss anyone?
You missed me.
Oh,
Josh
I'm
Stonebreaker.
sorry. How did I do that? Okay, go ahead.
My name's Josh Stonebreaker. A little bit about myself. I work at the federal prison, been out there for 13 years. I'm the union vice president out there. And some of the reasons I'm running for the board is these 3 behind me. I want to, my emphasis is security, make sure our kids feel safe going to school. And that's what I am able to bring to the board. As a union official, I've negotiated national policy for close to 35,000 staffs in the Bureau of Prisons. So I do have an understanding of what it takes to make things work between people.
All right, thank you. Now I hope I've got everybody. Sorry about that. All right, let's get right into the questions. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and post it in the chat. It's a little long, but I'll read it as well. In a recent conversation with some of our community's largest manufacturers, they cited the overall performance of the Vigo County School Corporation as a major deterrent in recruiting and retaining their workforce. What do you believe are the key areas requiring attention to make our schools a positive retention and recruitment tool for our community? And how would you work to accomplish those things as a member of the school board? Little long, but I think we all kind of get the point. What are those big things we need to work on to really encourage that retention and attraction for our local companies? Anyone want to tackle this question first? I would like to limit these to a minute in responses.
I'll go if nobody else wants to go.
Sure, Ken, you're up.
Well, I think we've lost our focus. I mean, in the last year, our school corporation has dropped from 194th to 222nd out of 356 in the state. In the last 5 years, our graduation rate has dropped from 93% to less than 85%. And our math and reading skills have gone down to less than the state average. I think the focus became about buildings. It became about a lot of other things, and we forgot to put academics first. We're going to have to work to get smaller classes in grades K through 3. For the first thing, we're going to have to reset kids at 6th grade, probably again into freshman year. And I think it's imperative that we build a combination technology, agriculture, and trade center outside the city limits so we can use USDA and IDA funding and provide, kids that are not going to go to school with a better path to be successful.
All right, perfect on the time. Thank you. Anyone else want to tackle this? Yeah, go ahead. Just feel free to unmute and jump in.
Sure. So I'll go next. So student retention, as if they are feeling connected to their schools, they're going to want to stay in those school systems. We have to make sure that they are spaces where they feel connected to not only the school, but the community. That's one of the reasons why I feel like West Vigo has a 95% graduation rate and success there, because it is a community feeling. The community rallies around that school. The students feel connected. They want to be there. They want to be participating in that. There's work to do. There are things that we need to create. There are better spaces and positive influences that we need to do. We need to work on some diversity factors and make sure that we're bringing in good programming for our schools. But there's a lot of success going on at West Vigo because of the community feeling. For teachers, you got to fix morale. You got to make sure that we're not adding to their plate just for the sake of adding to it. Our math and writing and literature numbers have all dropped as far as state standards go. A lot of that is due to COVID and the face-to-face instruction that people were lacking. So we have to make sure that our teachers feel supported, feel like they're part of the community and the experts in their field. We also have to make sure that
I got to cut you off. Time. We'll have a little bit of extra time hopefully at the end. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, Kristen, Clark Cowden. One thing I'd like to see is to have kind of like an employer kind of job fair, bring in people from business to talk to high school students about what they're looking for in people that they hire. I think we need to focus more on kind of soft skills, how to communicate, how to show up on time, how to work with people. I think a lot of times people don't understand those critical communication skills that are needed. I also think that we need to focus on critical thinking skills. Education's not just about learning content, but it's learning how to learn and how to adapt. In the last few years, both of my boys had their jobs go virtual or remote in 24 hours when COVID hit. Fortunately, they had the skills where they could shift and adapt quickly. And so we need to give students opportunities to be in problem-solving situations where they figure out what they would do if something like that happened to them.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, so I think similar to a few other comments is just really building that sense of community for both students, teachers, that parents. If you're connected with your school, with the neighborhood, you're less likely to, be looking to move or be looking to go out of district. And so I think how we do that as a board is we provide those opportunities, whether it's through academics, athletics, that post-graduation connection with employers or the community. And I think as board members, it should, our role is going to be really that communication key and being that liaison and looking for those opportunities and helping foster those partnerships and making sure those parents and teachers feel involved.
Okay, thank you. Others?
Yes, I'll go.
Go for it.
I agree with much of what has been said. We've spent a lot of time in the last 3.5 years discussing a trade school, a technology center, goes by a lot of different names. I think that is something that we really should consider. We may be able to use buildings that we have. We may need to do something new, but we definitely need to brainstorm about some way to involve the kids in more learning with trades. But having said that, you need teachers to teach those trades. And we have wait lists, say, for example, in welding, because we don't have enough teachers. That's just one example that I was given last year. So there's certain things that we can do as board members we can advocate, and we can ask a lot of questions and do research on our own. But there are things that are just out of our control, you know, when it comes to faculty and staff.
All right,
But one of the
time
things
on
I
that
really
one.
like for us to
Oh,
accomplish-
Rosemary, we gotta cut you off for time
Oh.
limit there. No, that's okay.
Sorry.
Nope, you're fine. Who else would like?
I was just getting going. I was going into robotics.
Who else would like to answer this? Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, hi, thanks. Yeah, in my mind, what we need to do first is fix some of the outlying problems so we can improve. We need to reduce class size. We need to make sure we're hiring and retaining the best students. In order to reduce class size, we're probably going to have to reopen the schools that have been closed. I also agree that we need some kind of conduit that goes from school to vocational apprenticeships, so that we're offering the skills that our employers need. Of course, education in itself is a three-legged stool where you have the schools, you have the parents, and then you have the community. And we need more community involvement and support. It just kind of drifted away over the years because of credibility issues and trust problems. I think that would go a long way if we could get the public back involved. Of course, the simple solution that presents itself is for the school corporation and the board to actually go out to the manufacturers and find out what is exactly lacking so we can start fulfilling that need.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Go ahead, JD.
No, I was just want to say JD Skelton District 2 again, but I've actually went out and sat down with the plumbers and steam fitters, with electricians, with the carpenters union, and actually talk to them about what their needs are. And the resources are currently in our county. We talk about making sure that we have the right teachers and the support staff, which is huge, making sure that we retain those folks within the school corporation. But there's a lot of resources out there that we currently could use that would be not a cost to the school corporation or a cost to the taxpayers, but would be out there for the carpenters, electricians, and plumbers to get those folks in there and actually get them working for their apprenticeship in their first year. It's something I actually want to try to champion and work with if I get voted in.
All right, thank you.
Kristen, Josh Stonebreaker, District 4. I had a follow-up question to the question. I just want
Okay.
to make sure I'm tracking on this.
All right, I like it.
All right, that our schools are a major deterrent for new businesses coming in. That was the meat and potatoes of the question, right?
Yes, I would more so, I would hate to overstate what I heard from the manufacturers, is that the schools are a major deterrent for them being able to attract and retain their workforce. So if
Okay.
they're recruiting someone from the outside, they're one of the main reasons they're hearing that that person's not interested in coming and working for that company in our area is because of the school corporation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so now we got to hash out, is it where we fall at academically as a school corporation? Is it our physical structures that are the issue? And so if it's where we fall at academically, we need to look at our teachers. First and foremost is pay. You know, the better the pay, hopefully the better teacher that we draw. I'm not saying that we have bad teachers now, but we are lacking teachers. I mean, I forget how many full-time substitute teachers Vigo County has employed instead of actual full-time teachers. So we need to look at that to up our academics. And when it comes to physical buildings, we all know that a referendum is going to happen. It's how we're going to sell it to the public, how we're going to build that trust back to make sure that they understand what we're trying to do. Until we, gap those two bridges, we're at a stalemate.
All right, thank you. Anyone else want to tackle this question that has not already spoken? Feel free to jump in, wave your arms wildly, whatever. Nope. Okay. We will go ahead and move on to the next question then. The next two questions relate to facility improvements. The first one asks more about short-term implications, and the second is more about long-term. So I wanted to preface that so you understand you don't have to get into all the long-term things with the first question. We will tackle that into the second question. So the first part with the more short-term implications, I'm posting in the chat right now. During the recent referendum campaign, many issues regarding the infrastructure in our schools were brought to light, including plumbing, HVAC, and other problems that impact the daily lives of students and staff in the school buildings. What actions would you recommend to solve these infrastructure issues, or maybe not solve, but at least tackle them in the next 12 months? Anyone want to tackle that?
Well, I guess I can jump in.
Yep. Go ahead, Rosemary, and then we'll do Clark next.
That's an unbelievable amount of question all in one, but we at present time are concentrating on HVAC. The problem is the supply chain, as everybody knows, is really slow. Items such as new chillers, new furnaces, everything associated with that is on back order. So there are a lot of moving parts that actually are holding us back. But the plans are to use a lot of ESSER funds. We also, as a board, we have a bond steering committee, and we can work with bonds to try to get some money. But we really will be doing a lot with HVAC as the supply chain and everything gets back to normal.
Okay, thank you. That's time.
Is the problem.
Quick times here. Anybody else? Oh, Clark, I'm sorry. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, Clark Cowden, District 2. Yeah, I think, we've got some major issues with our current buildings with, bathrooms that can't be used and students that have to walk way too far to get just a functional bathroom, which really makes some major problems in the school day. I know when I toured the buildings and the custodian showed us the problems that were there, they talked about how they can't even find parts to do the repairs that are needed. But when they talked about doing the referendum last fall, if it had passed, it would have been like 4 years from now before the buildings would be ready to move into. And we can't wait 4 years to fix bathrooms and have one classroom that's at 50 degrees and the next classroom at 90 degrees. We've got to take the funds that we have and fix these in the short term because they're causing major problems for our students' education.
All right, thanks, Clark. Anyone else?
Kristen, this is Rick. What I'd like to see is there's no doubt our 3 high schools need improvements on. I think the 14 of us believe in that. But what I'd like to see is a short-term, long-term plan with priorities on each high school. And I'm sure some of that's already done, but that's where I'd like to start with on addressing the 3 high schools.
Thank you.
What I'd like to see happen is an outside construction management company, consultant, come into each of the schools and do a comprehensive plan on everything that's wrong with them, prioritize them and price them, and then use our bonding and our revenue flow to take care of the worst issues first. Probably the bathrooms seem to be the worst issue, and then move along from there. I want to see our existing schools refurbished and repaired.
Okay, thank you.
On Rosemary, you might know the years on this, but I think those facility books exist depending on the year. I've seen a 2016 one, so I think some of the buildings have had those consultant things done. And I think that with the next 12 months, the ESSER funds are great and we're dealing with supply chains, but the teachers and the students are sitting in rooms that are way too hot, and teachers are spending personal money bringing fans in to try to cool down their room, or the opposite's happening, and even it's freezing and those kids are building up. And it's just not providing a facility that is that can accommodate learning and teaching and working every day. And I don't know about how everybody else feels, but like you wouldn't want to work in those conditions, let alone learn and be tested on. And so I think while we wait on those supply chains and when we wait on the ESSER funds, I mean, we need to do something to help our students and our teachers now, and triage the situation while we wait on that supply chain to catch back up.
Okay, thank you, Carrie.
The one
Anyone
thing
else? Go ahead.
Sorry. One thing I've got to add is I agree with everyone. We've got a situation that's got to be addressed immediately. No matter if we got new schools remodel, what we still have years that we have to figure out a maintenance plan to take care of what we currently have to make it to where it's a safe environment for the kids currently. But we've got to put a lot of time and a lot of effort in a long-term maintenance plan so we don't end up in the same situation as what we are right now. We've got schools that were built in the 1970s where you can go a county anyway around Vigo and find places that were built the same time period. They're nowhere near where we are. And the reason why that's like that is virtually they had a better maintenance plan than what we currently have.
I would just, so
Yeah, go
Craig,
ahead.
in your district too, I would just add to all of that. Of course, I agree. We need to do studies to make sure that we are addressing the short-term problems immediately. And we need to do actual fixes instead of patchwork. We can't patch one part of a pipe just to have it blow in another area and have 60,000 gallons of water run from out of a pipe into a drain because the entire pipe system needs replaced, but we keep doing patchwork. We need to make sure that we're doing that. We need to make sure our kids are going to clean environments and able to go to the restroom. We also need to make sure that a lot of our high schools only have one full-time maintenance man. That's not necessarily going to be enough to fix all of the issues. And just like everyone else has said, we need to address those issues as well with making sure that we have proper staffing and the support they need to keep up on all of the fixes that we need.
Okay. Who else would like to respond? Mike, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with everyone else pretty much. What we need to do is assess the situation and prioritize the fixes that need fixed, replaced, repaired, and then use available funds that we have to do so, because I know some of it's really in bad shape, and maybe approach John Ford and Bob Heaton about helping us out from the state, because in a matter of speaking, we've kind of victimized for some long time in money for maintenance. Who knows where it went? I would also suggest that it's pretty abstract to a lot of people how bad of shape the schools are in. Maybe we need to have the media in to be looking at it and focus on it, have public leadership come in and look at it, see if we can stimulate more public involvement and get it done, because I think in the past, people are wondering, well, what are we paying for? It seems like an awful lot of money. What's really going on? Go a long way.
Okay. Thank you.
So Josh Stonebreaker, District 4. I believe a lot of what everybody's saying is correct. Bringing in a consulting company, though, it just costs us more money on top of what we're already doing. So we have a maintenance team for the school corporation. And we're shut down schools and piling more kids in schools. So anybody that's a parent understands if I have one kid, I can keep my house clean. I have 2 kids, a little tougher. 3 kids I'm happy if I can see the floor eventually. So if we don't start taking down some of the foot traffic and the wear and tear in these schools, no matter how much money we put into them to replace and rebuild, it's going to happen in a faster pace than what it has in the last 60 years. So we need to look at, I would say, a redistricting plan to take down a little bit of the wear and tear on the schools.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to tackle this question?
Sure. So Jim Bell, District 2. So yeah, I agree with about everybody said everything. I agree about most of that stuff. And with what Mr. Stormbreaker just said about the consultants, and we have a team that takes care of the facilities. We have a director that takes care of those facilities. He should be the one who knows what's wrong with the schools and decide what gets done to take care of this stuff I mean, if not, what are we paying him for? Just, that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. I think according to my notes, everybody has had the opportunity to answer this question. Did I miss anyone? Okay, and so you guys just don't think that some, random person wandered in. Sarah Smith, who I mentioned earlier, who is one of our advocacy co-chairs with Sycamore Engineering, is on the call this evening as well. Sarah, anything you want to say to the group?
Hi, sorry I'm late. I just wanted to welcome you all and thank you for taking the time to inform all of our business leaders in the community. I think this is really important for us all to hear your standpoint of where you all stand. So thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. All right, we're going to kind of get into the second part of the question about long-term solutions specific to the facilities, which a lot of you already touched on. So if you don't have anything to add, that's fine, but I'm going to go ahead and ask the question anyways, because it digs in a little bit further. So now onto a question about the long-term piece. What would you recommend in terms of long-term changes to the high schools? And you can feel free to be as specific as you would like in terms of, number of buildings, all of that good information. And then also some information around the funding mechanisms. Of course, we, most of us, I think, understand where we're at in terms of the referendum not passing and what that looks like for the future. But tax rate increases is also another option. How do you propose that we cover the cost of some of these changes? So I know it's kind of a big question with lots of facets, but I would open it up to anybody who kind of wants to continue that conversation about the long-term piece of it. Go ahead, Clark, jump in.
Yeah, Clark Cowden, District 4. I think, part of what we need to do is focus on the future. Wayne Gretzky once said that the way he played hockey was he didn't skate to where the puck was, he skated to where the puck was going to be. And we don't need to just educate students for today, but where they're going to be tomorrow. And we need buildings that fit that. I think we need to have, there's a lot of high schools today that have smart walls with lots of technology that make those things so much easier. There are schools that are being built brand new today for safety considerations where they can close down a zone of the school if a shooter comes into the school, and they can keep their kids safer by locking down just a certain portion of the building. And those are things I think that would really benefit us moving forward. If we're looking at building new schools, I think according to state law, the only thing we can do is with a referendum. So it's got to be smart enough and have enough buy-in that people are willing to support.
Thanks, Clark. Anyone else want to kind of tackle some of these long-term things? Craig, you unmuted, go for it.
Sure. So again, Craig, in your District 2, long term, again, our hands are tied as far as funding goes by Indiana legislators. We have to have a referendum in order to do major capital projects, just because of the way the funding source goes. But we can be smart about that. As far as our schools go, I love the community feel, but we also have to make sure that we are making adjustments. In 2020, they did a population study. We are going to lose students. We're going to have a smaller student body. We're going to have and if we lose 300 students, that's about a $2.1 million cut to our revenue by our students, money we get per students. We're going to have to make some changes on that. So if we keep the schools where they are, they're going to have to be smaller if we do some building projects. And I would love to see us fix the schools. We're going to have to do some refurbishment and be smart about how we're doing that. Also, I want to make sure that we're using fair bidding practices, and I can ask those questions. I may not be fully involved in everything, but I can ask the tough questions to make sure that we are encouraging fair practices in our bidding process.
All right, thank you. And I would, a shameless plug for the chamber, one of our big goals is decreasing that population decline or halting that population decline. We work on that every day, trying to get more people into our community. So sorry, but had to throw that in. Anyone else want to tackle this?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Several of these issues are tied together. And one of the reasons I'm advocating for the technology campus is that it takes not only to bring in students from other counties, which helps our revenue issue, it also takes students out of our academic buildings into that technical center, mostly their junior and senior years, which allows us, when we do build new buildings, to build smaller spaces. And that will save us money. There's no way that I think we're going to push through three new high schools. I just don't think we can afford it. But I think if we have if we do that, we'll have smaller schools. And I think we have to do a population shift study and a population density study to know how many buildings we need and where we need them, because none of us here are qualified to make that decision.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah. Hi.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Yes. In my opinion, we really need to, first of all, restore trust and credibility in the school corporation and the board. Otherwise, people aren't going to be amenable to being taxed anymore. And we also need to, I say this, and I don't know exactly what all the obstacles are getting money from the state, but I'd like to see some money come from the state to help us. In any event, I think with the infrastructure we have laid in and all of the other logistics, probably going to stay with the 3 schools where they are currently in their locations. They need to be refurbished and repaired. Well, it won't be a pleasant thing for a lot of people. We're going to have to phase those in. We can't do all 3 of them at once, so we'll have to take the worst case scenarios and do those. And I also agree we need to have a maintenance plan to make sure that the infrastructure is kept up, because part of before I retired, part of my job was keeping a building going that was roughly the same age. And yes, plumbing goes, this goes. You just have to have a schedule to make sure things get replaced. But yeah,
Thank
we're
you.
eventually going to have referendum. Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, who else would like to jump in here?
I will. I agree that unfortunately, I do think we're going to have to, a referendum is inevitable. I think that we can provide a better referendum. And something that I didn't really see explored during some of those community sessions with the school corp is the idea. We talk a lot about everybody wanting to see a vocational or a trade facility or a location. But I think if we take that idea and we look at it across all the different pathways to graduation, in terms of maybe instead of duplicating all of these programs at 3 different schools, why aren't we treating these pathways to where we have a STEM institute at one of our 3 high schools in the future? And so really, instead of duplicating the cost in 3 different locations, why aren't we specializing where one is the vocational trade school, and you waiver in if that's the pathway that you want to go in, or there's an academic focus or a STEM focus. And so I think there's some other things that I just didn't see explored in those community forums that I think us on the school board is something that we can question and ask about. But I do agree that a referendum, just we're tied by state funding in that way.
All right, thank you. Who else?
I'll jump in.
Go ahead, Rosemary.
I advocated for the last referendum to be phased in, to be a staggered approach. I think that it's too much for the taxpayers to take on the burden of 3 new schools or 3 school projects. Also, I didn't like the idea that we were supposed to be focused on high schools, and then we added in a major project at Woodrow Wilson. Now, having said that, all of these are real needs, but the taxpayers are just not on board. And with the first referendum barely passing, I felt the second one was extremely weak. The feedback that we got from the public was not favorable. And many people sought me out to say 262 million is too much. But at some point, we are going to have to raise taxes. We know that's our only way in Indiana, but we need to do it where there's the least impact on the citizens and especially the farmers. I'm not sure we shouldn't lean on our Republican legislature in Indianapolis to help the farmers out, because they really take a hit when you start talking about a referendum.
Thank you.
After all, we wouldn't be able to survive without our farmers.
Thank you. All right, who else?
Josh Stonebreaker, District 4. like we said, we're all in agreement that a referendum is going to happen. But what I would really like to see done is us legislate to make that a food and beverage tax to redo our schools. This way, everybody pays into it, just not the homeowners. As far as a long-term plan for our schools, again, it goes back to student population, like we talked, and how many people we have in the schools. And then if we do shut down a school because of our shrinking or declining enrollment, what happens to that school? We don't get rid of it because we don't want to sell it for $1 to a different school. So we are forced to upkeep that school and put more money into it the same way we're doing with Meadows now. We've done nothing to save any money at all. So that's part of the reasons why the taxpayers are having a hard time getting behind any referendum at all.
All right, thank you. Who else? Going once, going twice. All right, we're moving on then. I think we've got time for one more question. It'll be a little shorter. That'll be a benefit for you all. Kind of thinking about the schools and what impact they have in general. I really, this is just kind of your opinion question. So beyond the high school diploma, what role does the school district play in the local economy? Again, pretty open question, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Anyone want to answer first?
I'll answer. Could you repeat the last part of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So beyond the high school diploma, what role does the school district play in the local economy?
Well, I mean, I think it's huge. We're the second biggest employer in the county. I think the parents, the grandparents, the children, we go through generations with the schools. To me, I mean, I think the schools are the lifeblood of the community. I think that's the reason so many people were concerned about enrollment, because they want the best outcome. Teachers are concerned about enrollment. They know that high populations don't lead to good outcomes. I would focus on that. I think we really need to pay attention to enrollment. I'm a smaller school advocate. The community involvement is there in a smaller school. The dropout rate is dramatically different in a smaller school. So that affects everyone. When kids drop out, we know they're getting into trouble. We know that their chances of getting a job that's past minimum wage are very weak. So everything goes back to the schools.
Right.
When people
Thank
say
you.
they're not concerned, it will affect all of us at some point.
Thank you. Who else? Mike, go ahead. I saw your hand pop up.
Yeah, hi, I would like to add my part to it. I believe we've got to have great schools. I mean, great, not only buildings, but also influential teachers to play a role in kids' lives, because that's what's going to attract business and people to move to our area. As the one question said, people don't want to come here to work because what do they think of our schools? That'd be the biggest major impact, I think. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Who else?
Yeah, Clark Cowden in District 4. I think schools have a huge impact on just the morale and feel of a community. When people feel proud of their schools, it helps with talent retention in the area. When I moved a couple times when I was growing up, and my parents always looked for where the best schools were, where the best school districts were. And if we want to attract new families and new businesses to our community, if we want to grow our population, the schools are an essential role. Everybody always asks about them. They want to know about them, and how people feel makes a big difference in how people feel about our community in general.
All right. Thanks, Clark. Who else? Go ahead. Ken, JD, Ken, why don't you go ahead and go first? You're at the top of my screen.
Everything in the county goes through the school corporation. It begins there or it goes through at one point. Again, one of the reasons I'm advocating again for a regional campus, I worked with John Ford on this for the last 3 or 4 years. Every county that has built these has seen an increase in their education dollars coming in, and an increase in the commercial and industrial expansion around that facility and for their counties. It is the single thing we can do to grow students right now and to grow revenue. It should be, to me, it should be our priority. We should have it built first because we can use that USDA and EDA funding if we build it outside the city limits. I think that's it's a no-brainer.
All right, thanks, Ken. JD?
Yeah, JD Scott District 2, it's civic pride. You look at the school corporation and what it does is it brings in civic pride, not only on the educational side, but on the athletic side. And that is the foundation, the future of Terre Haute, Indiana, and Vigo County. It's bringing in the business expansion, and it's increasing the residents within the county. And that's what we need to survive. And that's the whole point of Vigo County, is to try to bring more people in, try to bring more businesses in, and everyone has a better lifestyle. So I really think it's the whole key to the civic pride.
Thank you. Who else?
Kristen, this is Rick, District 5. I think this is just a great opportunity that the 7 people on a school board could create opportunities for our students out there. I mean, we each bring strengths in each one there. So I just think creating partnerships, the collaboration with the business world is things that we can do.
Thanks, Rick. Go ahead, Craig.
So, I mean, like everyone said, everything is tied to your schools. We go shopping for clothes, school shopping, school supplies, everything runs through our school system. But it is also a great opportunity for businesses to work with students in classroom projects for entrepreneurship, or how to start a small business. I know there are students that are currently seniors that are starting small shops. So there's a lot of opportunity to engage our students in getting connected to the local businesses and providing resources on anywhere from a social media campaign to drive business. There are lots of opportunities for us to get involved in the local economy. If your band program is doing well, if your sports program is doing well, if you've got a great academic area, you're going to bring people to the community for those events. You're going to sponsor those events. You're going to see a lot of community involvement in those.
Thank you. Anyone else want to jump in on this?
I would agree with a lot of what's been said, is that community building. But I also think that, I mean, if you think about it from the role of the parents in the school district, it affects when our businesses are open and what hours are. I mean, we all saw it during COVID, when schools shut down or when a whole classroom gets quarantined. I mean, all those parents either lose out or work from home or have to make other arrangements. So I think the school plays such a big factor, not only as an employer, as the creator of the next generation of workers, but also just the impact that it has when if school's not functioning in the way that it needs to be, and it affects everybody. So
yeah, thank you, Carrie. Josh, I thought we lost you for a moment, but
Yeah, I thought I was going
you came back.
Beyond the high school diploma, what does the school district play in the local economy? So I think everybody's pretty much hit every topic that I was going to discuss. A smaller school pride keeps them in the area. One of the things is when we talk about these referendums, we got to look what Terre Haute has to offer for our businesses, for our students to stay. And then we look at what property tax is to even stay in Terre Haute. It makes it real hard. It's a delicate balance, and I don't think we've found it yet as a community and as a school corporation. So it's something that we definitely need to work on going forward.
Okay, thank you. Jim just texted in the group that he was having some issues, and I think he is the only one who has not responded to this question. And I was not going to ask another question because I promised to get you all out of here by 6:30. I've got a family thing I got to go to. So we're going to run this ship on time this evening. Jim, are you back with us? Do you want to answer this question before we move on? Zoom is so wonderful and then so awful too sometimes. I think we'll go ahead and kind of close things out. So again, thank you all for participating this evening. As I mentioned, this will be posted on the Chamber's social media accounts tomorrow morning. I'm also happy to email the link out to anyone who would like that directly. It'll be on the Chamber's YouTube channel. I also want to put in another quick shameless plug for something the Chamber is working on. Tomorrow is what we call our Community Census Day. We're doing it twice a year. We send out this survey. It's open to visitors, residents, students, all sorts of populations. And we want to understand what people think about the community. And then we're going to gauge that over time. How are some of the programs and initiatives we're working on, school corporations working on? How is it changing people's perceptions of our community? So I would encourage everybody, while you're on our social media accounts looking at the video from this evening, also take a minute and take that quick survey. It's very short and there's some gift cards if, you know, potentially you're picked as a winner. So it's a win-win for everybody. So again, thank you all for your time. Have a good evening and best of luck to each of you in next week's election.
Thanks, Kristen. Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank
Bye-bye.